Hello, welcome back to the TSR Football Podcast, and we are back in Etch in Hove, and it's such a lovely day for it as well. Henry, it's good to have you back. The Premier League's back, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, so come on,
I don't want to talk. Nah, it was. I mean, it was great to have the football back, obviously. But
Palace did all right.
Yeah, Palace were awful, and it seems to be imploding around us. But we never win at Everton. I did say that in the last episode. I think I think it's 2014 since we last won there. So shock, we lost.
New stadium, mate.
Missed big chances. Hit
Good
the post
team,
twice.
Everton, though.
Good team. Brighton. What on earth happened there?
Oh,
I was sat right. You know the pavilion gardens in central Brighton. Sat there. There was a live orchestra playing. Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Had a little coffee.
Yeah,
sat with the missus, enjoying, taking in the rays.
yeah, very nice.
And my phone just ping. I was like, what is going on? And there was a bloody Brighton fan sat like just over from me. Obviously not the game because
Yeah, why is not the game?
he was like, oh my god, tune it up. Oh, we're fit. Oh, Super Jackie Edgewood. Shut up, mate. Didn't want to hear it. But yeah, congrats. Villa looked shite.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest games I think I've actually ever been to be honest. I mean, genuinely, when you're watching it from where I am, so I sit right at the West Upper, which is right at the top, in the middle where the goodness me.
Up near where the chain
circle
is for the flush.
Lovely view of the pitch, right? I've been up there for a few years and it's lovely up there. Anyway, watching Villa in and out of possession, they were abysmal.
It felt like final day of the season vibes.
It was really poor,
I mean?
but I mean, look, I've been really critical of Hurtslow, Brian. Very critical of his sort of tactics. But I had to give him a lot of praise yesterday because as bad as Villa were, we absolutely destroyed them in that first half. We did absolutely everything that we needed to do to put it beyond any reasonable doubt. I think I give a lot of credit to Jorginho Rutter and I give a lot of credit to Maxime De Kuyper and Jack Hinchelwood, obviously. Between the two of De Kuyper and Hinchelwood, they were thankful for 4 of the goals. But I had to say about Georgie because he was exceptional. You know, we signed him for 40 million from Leeds. Didn't have the best end to the season last season, but you know when we're talking about the next Brighton players to keep an eye on, I think this season could be a big one for him. If we're finally using him right, you know those sort of driving runs, balls across the box, he was everywhere yesterday.
I think I prefer him more as a creator than the finisher.
Yeah.
Really impressed by Hinchelwood as well.
Yeah,
not long
goals.
I think till he gets mentioned. In terms
He's
of
always in
England.
the right place at the right time, and I think if you can do that, you're young. You got over 60 appearances in the Premier League.
Playing forward as well now.
You know,
isn't he?
he's very good in front of goal. He's lethal in front of goal. To be honest, as I say, he's always in the right positions, and that's the sign of a very, very good young player. You know, I think Hinchelwood's really underrated actually in the grand scheme of football, and the reason for that is his versatility, mate. I've never seen a player that can cover left back, right back, winger, striker, centre mid,
play out front.
and he even played centre back for the England under-21s when they won the Euros like last year. He's exceptional. He's captain material in the future, 100%. But yeah, he's like the little Brighton Jude Bellingham. Loves a goal from midfield.
But it was an awful Villa side, and we're definitely not getting carried away here.
I'll speak on Villa actually because Unai Emery after the game was quite funny, bit touchy. Unai,
he's funny.
Yeah, not
Hurtslow
happy.
missed that 0.5 second window to get a handshake straight down the tunnel.
Yeah, no handshake from him. I think that's poor, to be honest. I think that's bad. Like you got to shake hands at the end of the game, no matter how angry or upset you are afterwards. But yeah, Villa are awful. I mean, obviously Ollie Watkins was missing, wasn't he? We'll get on to a bit of a conversation about Mateta, Watkins, player power is a bit crazy at the minute. But Villa were just diabolical, as I say, in and out of possession. They weirdly started the first 5-10 minutes quite good. They're probably controlling the game, I would say. And the first goal actually came against the run of play. But after that, it was just like their heads dropped. They capitulated. The manner of the goals they were conceding were just poor mistakes. Midfielders giving it away. João Gomez had an absolute stinker. Got a red card as well as giving a goal away. And they were just lacklustre. Absolutely nothing going forward. Buendia started up front. And just weak. Really, really, really weak.
I think a lot of sides we're going to see are very underprepared for this season. I think the World Cup finishing when it did is going to have an impact. I think that lots of players returning late to their clubs. We've seen that massively. I mean, these first few games are essentially our pre-season because Mateta, Pino, Sarr, all these guys weren't with us throughout pre-season. They played one game or maybe a half of football. It's going to be tough. Obviously, there were some massive shocks, but not so much shocks because I said that United would potentially face a bit of upset. I didn't think it would be a 2-0 loss.
No.
But full credit to Hull. I mean, just I think it's I don't want to again get carried away because I know a lot of people will be like, oh wow, okay, well, Hull and Ipswich winning, they could definitely stay up.
Yeah.
I think I was more impressed with Ipswich in terms of how they played. I thought Man United were really poor. And yeah, Hull were good. They took their chances. Full credit for the win. I'm not taking anything away from them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get carried away.
For me, Hull were a nice flashback. They felt like a nice flashback to like the Premier League of 10 years ago, to be honest.
I don't like their badge on their kit, though.
Yeah.
I think it's really ugly.
But they were refreshing, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Ipswich, I know what you mean. Their style of play is a lot more appropriate for the modern day. I agree with that. But I thought Hull were just really exciting. I think they rattled United really well.
And they're going to do that.
They defended fantastically well. I thought their balls into the box for the goals are great. And overall, they just had that intimidating atmosphere. They're everything really that you want from a newly promoted club that haven't been in the league for a while. And they just caused an absolute upset. And it was. I think they bossed that game.
They did, and I think we're going to see that a lot from Hull. They're going to dig in. They're going to be really tough to beat, especially at home. I was a frequent visitor to the MKM when I was at university because my best friend is a Hull fan.
Nice.
And we used to go all the time. And yeah, I've joined in a few. You're getting mauled by the Tigers.
That chant, by the way.
Rotherham at home. I think it was 3-0 in the first half. I remember mauling the Rotherham fans. That was great. They are going to do. I think they're going to be okay. I don't know if that means they stay up, but I think they're going to maybe surprise a few people because I think people look at their squad and maybe overlook it. But you know, Jurkovic is a very good manager, very good tactician.
Still making signings as well.
They're making good signings, smart signings. Nobel Mendy on his debut, obviously scoring, and then I feel like when you've got that kind of grit. And you know, you've got players like Regan Slater, who's been with them for yonks. They signed him for 50k. Huge shout out to him. I think he lost his dad recently. I'm not sure the circumstances around that, but I know it was quite tragic. And he's been kind of carrying that with him, and it was always his dream for his dad to watch him play in the Prem. And I was a really nice Instagram post from him. But Jurkovic saying his first name on the team sheet, £50,000 signing, and they got players like Ollie McBurney and these guys that you can kind of hang your hat on to kind of give the bare minimum each week. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like the passion and the hard work. And yeah, sometimes it might not be enough to overcome some teams, but I think it's they're definitely building a squad and a kind of mindset that could see them survive.
I agree. I say I kind of mentioned it already, but I remember when we first got promoted. And, you know, those home games matter so much, don't they? You know, I remember when we beat United, I think we won the game 1-0, but it was by literally, I think it was 28 millimetres, the ball was over the line. That was the goal that kept us up. And I remember the atmosphere in the Amex in that first season was unbelievable. You wouldn't believe that nowadays when you go to the Amex. But I remember when we first got promoted in the Championship, our atmosphere was really good.
It starts to dwindle, doesn't it? The longer you're in the league because tourists come in, and it's been the same for us.
Yeah, I think every kind of club in the Prem that's been here for more than 5 years now kind of has it. But I remember specifically that home games are so important, and if you can get big results against big clubs, obviously the upsets or the pressure's always on them because everyone in the media are going to speak about how bad United were. They're going to talk about everything that they've done wrong tactically, all the new players aren't performing. Everyone's talking about Yuri Tielemans instead of actually how good Hull were to counteract them and absolutely rattle them, as I said. And I think that they had them on the back foot throughout most of the game, and they defended remarkably well. So I'll give full credit to Hull City. The same can't really be said for Coventry, although I think that was a little bit of a tall order to go to the Emirates and get to anything out of that game. Yeah,
tough game. Just quickly as well, finally on Hull, I think, you know, it is important, like you said, home form massive. What I was just looking at there is, say you won half of your home games, that's 27 points, give or take, 27 to 30 points, depending on how you split the 19. That could massively be the difference between staying up and going down. Forming that kind of consistent performances at home it's going to kind of make the difference between these teams potentially having enough. But yeah, excited to see how they do. I think Hull play Ipswich next. I believe, or Coventry.
To be honest, my knowledge of fixture lists are always horrendous.
I know the newly promoted sides.
I go home and away, mate. Right, I genuinely go home and away. I go to more often than I don't. Right, and someone will be like, "Oh, we got whoever away next week." I'm like, have we?
Really? Yeah.
I booked the tickets 2 months ago. I've forgotten, to be honest. I'll just be there. You know?
It's Coventry they've got next week, so that could be a really big game. Of course, at Coventry, their first home game. Yeah, disappointing, but unsurprising. I think we all kind of saw that coming. Arsenal were just going to win the league at a canter, I think. I mean, I had a bet on, and I had Zolis to score or assist. I had Havertz and Saka to score. and it was basically done by 20 minutes in. It was
Yeah.
like living in dreamland.
Yeah.
But like it's predictable. It's really predictable. You know, they're very good, and they're not gonna. I feel like the thing with Arsenal, and we saw it last year, they rarely score more than 3 goals. Like they kind of settle for that kind of three goal margin.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, well, but I don't think they need to
joking.
score more than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be like absolutely fine. Cov, bit disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought disappointed with Carl Rushworth. You know,
I was really
big
shocked
money
by
signing.
Rushworth, you know. I mean, obviously, former Brighton, but also what he did with Coventry last season. He was probably the best goalkeeper. Was the best goalkeeper in the league. Made some exceptional saves, and he's always been known for those exceptional saves. And I think that was the surprise. Maybe the occasion got to him, playing in a big stadium, big atmosphere, champions.
And it's another level.
It's different. It's different.
But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with them. I thought they were a little bit scattergun, and I feel like we might. That's why I think Coventry probably actually now, after watching a week of it and seeing all 3 promoted sides play, I think they're most likely now for me to finish bottom.
I mean, it's one game in.
I know,
so I don't want to get
but
too
purely
carried
in
away.
terms of the kind of what I saw from the approach. And I'm not like, I could be completely wrong. Obviously, like you say, we'll maybe wait till next weekend. I've seen Coventry
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll give it a month or two because teams need to settle. And
they do.
Arsenal away, mate.
But I feel like, I know, but I feel like I can see, like, looking forward, I can see Ipswich and Hull being a bit more tactically.
I think Ipswich have got that know-how.
This is what I mean, and Ipswich have signed some. I mean, Julio Enciso was excellent.
What did I say about Enciso?
I mean, we can talk about Ipswich. I mean, Sunderland. I think Sunderland will struggle. I think they're.
It's a lot of games to balance. I wouldn't be mad at them not doing too well in the league, but going for Europe. You know, I think. Like I was talking earlier about the atmospheres of these sort of clubs. I mean, that's what's going to help them. Sunderland, particularly. You know, we know what they're all about. We know how much of a menacing atmosphere that is to go to their ground. I think they've got that going into Europa League a little bit. They've got that sort of passion behind them a little bit, but also, you know, when you've got players like Xhaka, etc., with you, you know, you've already got the experience there. I wouldn't be mad at them putting their eggs into that basket, but I agree they were a little bit lackluster, but I was really impressed with Ipswich.
Really direct, forward-thinking football. Like I said,
defensively they were bad in Sunderland.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, you know, and again, they had quite a lot of players at the World Cup, to be fair to them. I think it is going to take time to settle. And they'll probably be okay. But yeah, I think, you know, that's the result that I look at and think makes sense. Ipswich at home, you know, they've just come up.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they do well. Someone that didn't do well at home on a manager's first game is Forest.
Yeah, I mean, you said it already about Glasner off air. You're telling me about never really starts very well. I've got to say, though, I was a little bit surprised. I was actually listening to that game. I didn't watch it, but I was listening to it. And I think it was Anton Stack, wasn't it, with the free kick in the last sort of couple of minutes.
Anton Stack behaviour.
He loves a free kick goal, doesn't he?
I've not seen his Instagram post after the game, but I do need to go and check that out.
Yeah, but Leeds are going to be difficult. Again, another tough team. Made some good signings throughout the course of the summer. You know, they have a bit to build on from last season. I think they'll be fine in terms of relegation. And as we said at the beginning of the season, there's a lot of opportunities for these sort of clubs like Leeds who don't necessarily have the pressure this season. They've made their signings. You know, if they can go away to Forest and get a result, I think that's a very, very, very good result.
Yeah.
You know, Glasner, as you said, doesn't necessarily start the best. I don't think they were necessarily at their best, as I said, but they did have a lot of chances to score, I've got to say.
They did, but I think this is what comes back into what I said in the episode we recorded last week that I think you guys will probably see after this one. We did a player to watch from each Premier League club, and I said James Trafford for Leeds, and I think that the reason why is because I think that he makes that difference. He allows them to absorb that pressure. He made a couple of really good saves, and then that allows them to kind of go up the other end and take a chance and score. I think that could be quite a common theme for Leeds, is that they defend quite resolutely. Trafford makes a few good saves, and they snatch it by a goal or two.
Trafford's a big one for them,
Huge
because
signing.
it adds that element of stability. If you are on the back foot, you're at a tough place like Forest, you know you've got a goalkeeper that's going to keep you in games, he's going to make big saves, and he's going to stop you from going behind in games where, especially momentum and etc. how it swings, you need that. But yeah, Leeds, impressive result, I'd say, especially on the opening day, but I wouldn't get too worried from Forest.
No, for sure. Yeah, and like I've said multiple times, Glasner will take time. That's just how it goes. Brentford.
This is probably the one that I wanted to speak about most, actually.
Wowee.
Great performance from Brentford, can I just say?
Unbelievable. I mean, it should have been 4 had Thiago not missed a penalty. I was listening to it on my way back from work on Saturday. Excellent. Just like suffocated Spurs.
Yeah.
Mamadou Sangare is potentially the next N'Golo Kante. I tweeted out, I was like, I get actually angry when I think about the fact that they were essentially given a clear run at him.
Yeah.
Because,
especially losing Belabor.
He was like 41 million pounds, man. He's what a player.
Great player, great team, great performance. I think they did everything to Spurs that they couldn't deal with. But similarly, I'll touch on De Zerbi. Similarly to Glasner, takes time. His idea is very complex. I seem to remember Lewis Dunk doing a quote about him saying that effectively when he first came in and then first 2 months, no one had a clue what was going on. His style of play is so particular, it's so intense, it's so very sort of high level that a lot of players were just left very confused. And I'm just wondering if that's what happened to Spurs the other day, because there was a lot of cheap errors. I think Bergvall gave the ball away more often than he didn't. Kinski in goal made some big mistakes. It just felt like overall they just looked so sloppy in and out of possession. I thought they were very, very poor. I was really surprised by how they set up in that game. I suppose they didn't necessarily have their first team out with all of the new signings they've made. But even still, I wanted to see so much more from Spurs. Really underwhelming.
And, they spent, what, 300 million euros? I know we're in Britain, but that's kind of like the nice round fee. And that's before Savinho and Marmoush.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to end up spending about 350 million quid.
Yeah, they've got to make that count, And I think De Zerbi, as we said,
it adds pressure.
It adds pressure. It adds De Zerbi pressure.
Yeah.
And we all know what that means.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting. But I think Tottenham will be all right. But on that evidence, they need a lot more. And they need to get it to click quite quickly because they can't afford to go to a Brentford side and lose 3 or 4-0, mate.
But at the same time, again, and I think we're going to keep saying this, World Cup, I think that will have an impact. They didn't have a great pre-season. Lots of their players didn't really feature. A lot of the youngsters kind of were coming through in that pre-season for Spurs.
Archie Gray captain, though.
It's an interesting one. He seems... I think he needs to drop the trim. I think that's I think it looks great on him. Don't get me wrong, it suits him. But I don't think it's a functional haircut for a footballer.
But I mean... I like Archie Gray. I think he's a good player, but you're putting him right back
and he's
as a
so
young player,
and
we
don't know
him
him
as a captain.
He seems very quiet, like he's very reserved in the press. I think if you're
5 years in the future, I can see it. He's a good player. He's a very good player. He's got a lot of potential. I agree with the sentiment of promoting Archie Gray to become a top player at Spurs. Get it, but I don't get putting him as captain now. No. Especially when you're spending, 50-odd million on Van Hecke. You've got the likes of, I'm sure Van de Ven's got to come in and probably step up at some point. Maybe you'd expect.
He will.
I don't know, I'm just looking across their squad now.
Injured.
Yeah, he was in the stands for that game, so I'm guessing so. But I don't know. Kinski can't be goalkeeper.
No, this is what I was thinking. But he is. He's going to be the number one, right? They haven't signed anyone else.
I would say he's all right with the ball at his feet.
I just think, and I think when you've got that kind of like error gene that he seems to have.
He's got a serious bozo gene.
It doesn't matter what squad they have in front of him because if when he's relied upon, he can't be trusted.
Slipsky.
Yeah, exactly. If he can't be trusted to do the simple things right, then it's not going to work.
Cundy and O'Hara on a generational run, by the way.
I actually love them. I used to hate TalkSport.
I know what you mean.
I used to hate listening to it, and I just thought it was just like wind up. And then, discovered the sports bar, and I'm like, I can see why everyone loves this. It's bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
And a bit of a shock, or almost, Man City Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, of course, took a relatively early lead. And then City turned it around and won it in the last second with Gvardiol.
Gay was all over the place as well.
Mark Gay was playing centre mid. Maresca came out and was like, this is the first time he's done it. It's not. Played centre mid for Palace a few times.
Was he good in centre mid for you?
He played in centre mid when we beat Villa, I think 3 or 4-0 at Villa Park, and he scored that goal where he bent it into top corner, I think a week before he left. Played centre mid, a few times for us. He's always been. I mean, Mark Gay is just the kind of player you can hang your hat on. You know he's going to be great wherever you put him. And I think his profile really actually suits that kind of DM that collects the ball and moves it. His forward passing is very good. And I think that if you allow him to be more aggressive in his defending because he's got that kind of security of a back four behind him, I think you might actually see him thriving a little bit more. Haaland's trim needs to... I don't like it.
Oh, I like it.
I think it suits him, but it's found it much more difficult to recognise him, and he looks like a baby.
It's quite funny when I saw him bursting forward on one of their chances. And it doesn't look the same.
No, he doesn't look as threatening.
It does look weird.
He doesn't look.
He almost runs with his
scary.
head down.
Yeah.
And but obviously with no hair, it just looks
I
he's got his
I
head
don't
like
think
this.
he looks as scary. I think he's lost significant threat points. Haaland, Viking Haaland.
So we've gone with Archie Gray's hair isn't great, and now we've got
Mate,
Erling Haaland's hair. You don't like it?
No, I think
Just
it
rate the
suits
whole
him.
Premier League hair.
No. I think it suits him. But what I'm saying is that I think that Viking Haaland is a lot more threatening. I think I'd shit my pants 10 times harder if Viking Haaland was running at me than if baby-haired, shaven Haaland was running at me.
Yeah, but then you say that until a little baby head shaven Haaland's running at you, and all of a sudden it's a different ballgame.
Light work, mate.
But yeah, I know what you mean. But no, sorry, I quite like it. Plus, City again, they still get away with it, don't they?
Bournemouth are a good side, though, man.
Oh,
Bournemouth
mate,
are going to do
starting
really
11 they set
well.
up with.
Bournemouth have got a really awesome team, and they've got a good manager, and they're going to do very well this year. Yeah, they've got a balanced European football. That might take a toll later on.
Yeah, but they've got. I think their squad. I feel like I remember, and you'll remember getting into Europe for the first time, and then your squad gets decimated, and you lose players, and then it takes its toll. Whatever. I think Bournemouth have improved their squad. They've kept hold of big players.
Yeah, I think out of any team, I'm jealous the most of Bournemouth's transfer strategy.
They've built well,
but mainly in the sense that when they lose a key player, they will go and replace him instantly.
Yeah.
And they don't piss around. They don't try and tiptoe around the matter and go for a cheaper option. Lose a central defender, Antonio Silva comes in, one of Benfica's best defenders last year. Benfica, part of that
to go to
invincible
Bournemouth
side
Stadium.
to go to the vitality. But they see an error in the squad, they see a lack in the squad, and they go and attack it.
Yep.
Ryan comes in, long-term heir to Semenyo. Semenyo leaves, as they knew he would, as they prepared for. Ryan steps in, potentially could end up being a better player than him.
Yeah.
And I think that there is, you've got to give them credit.
Mate, I said it to you before. I think my unpopular opinion is they're the best run club in the league right now, and I think they are.
And it's annoying. It annoys me because they're Bournemouth.
Yeah,
come on,
can we not have
the
thing
best
is,
owners in the league?
I'm going to say this now, and this might be my unpopular opinion, but the Barclaysman thing in the Premier League is the worst stupid trend of all time.
I feel
and
like you don't like
that.
it more because it's very anti-Brighton as
Exactly.
well.
But I can say as a Brighton fan that's watched the Championship for the majority of my life, right? The Football League, I'm not going to call it the EFL because it was the Football League when we were there. The Football League is my life, right? It's my childhood. I didn't grow up watching Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Beckham. Loved the players, great players, Ronaldo, but I didn't watch Barclaysman Premier League. I was watching the Championship. I was watching Ross McCormack, right? I was watching Craig Bryson. I was watching Chris Martin.
Craig McHale-Smith.
I was watching Craig McHale-Smith. I was watching Craig Noon. I was watching Will Buckley, right? I was watching
Fucking
these players.
Will Buckley.
Love Will Buckley. Don't disrespect.
Do you remember when Poyet said he was better than Zaha?
Yeah,
that is mental.
But I was watching Wilfred Zaha. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was watching
Yala,
Jan
Balassi and
Kermagan,
Zaha on the wings with Murray in the middle. Oh my God, take
Pop
me back.
Gremniak.
But the point being...
But the point being on this, if we're going to talk about Barclaysmen, we're going to talk about Championshipmen trend. But no, joking aside, these clubs are smarter. And that's why they're here. No one cares that a club was big 10 years, 20 years ago. No one cares that they had a big following. No one cares that you won 20 trophies and done nothing since. No one cares, right? All anyone cares about is they want to improve as a player and go on for a bigger fee. As we've seen with Luka Vuskovic coming to Brighton for 50 million. As we've seen with Bournemouth signing a ridiculous amount of top young players. Krupi, for example, talking about 90, 100 million pounds now. It does count.
It does not count.
It does.
It's the club. It does not count.
Yeah, but
they turned down higher offers from other clubs
anyway.
to sell him to Bournemouth.
Yeah, fine. I get the point of that, but they still were smart enough to make it happen.
I've given Bournemouth credit. They will never get credit for.
Fine,
Ever.
whatever you want to think. But my point is, they're smart enough to make these deals happen. They're smart enough to recruit these players and make them better. They're smart enough to then sell them on and replace them with better players and continue to improve. I think that Brighton and Bournemouth and Brentford are very, very, very good examples. I think Palace, to be honest, not so much on that respect because I don't think you do that style of stuff.
Do you know what, Palace?
But you've broken the mould.
I just don't think we have the cojones. I think that's what we lack is the kind of just we just like tiptoe around things. Like last summer, going into our first ever European season, completely underprepared. Accepted that later on in the season, accepted it at the end of the season, but we got fortunate and we won it.
I think you've got like an arrogance almost. Like you get stuff done though.
Yeah, but this year, come on, man. It's like prodding a bear. Do something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We need signings. We lost Lacroix 4 weeks ago now, and we haven't replaced him. We already needed another centre-back at that time. We need another centre-mid. Now it looks like Ismail Assar and Mateta could go, and I'm not going to make this like a massive Palace rant, but we are not being proactive, and it really annoys me because I look at, the Brightons, the Bournemouths, the Brentfords, and I'm like, they're doing the right things. There is no reason why Brentford can go out and spend more money than Palace. We wasted money in January, but there is no reason why we can't go out and spend money. There's no reason.
I agree with that.
You breach the SCR limits, you get a fine. Who cares?
I want to just touch. I agree with your rant. I completely get your rant, and I want to build on it, kind of, because I'm now thinking about all these like top people that talk about the bigger clubs only, right? And they always look down on these clubs, and they say that it was better when Sheffield Wednesday are in the Prem, or it was better when, I don't even know. You know what I'm trying to say? Get to the point. It was better when these bigger clubs, they demand to be there. It was better when Leeds are there. Better when Newcastle are winning stuff. Who cares?
Was it enjoyable when Stoke City were in the Premier League? Did you ever watch a Stoke game unless your team were playing them?
Think about it. Who's providing the most entertainment in the Premier League this weekend?
Exactly.
It's Brentford, it's Brighton. And to be honest, to an extent, it was Bournemouth because it was a good game.
Yeah.
They pushed City to the end.
I completely agree. And I think it's just, like you say, it's just a weird kind of arrogance. And I think club size comes into it. I think, you are 3 small clubs.
Yeah.
It's true. Palace are in there as well. And people don't like that. Historically, you've never won a trophy. Bournemouth have never won a trophy. Brentford, I don't think have ever won a trophy either. Until, the last 2 years, we'd never won a trophy. I think that a lot of the people that say these things are normally a little bit older, I feel. It's not normally people around our age, because people around our age would have seen that kind of comeuppance of these clubs and seen them do well. And think, they've rightfully earned their place there. But the older heads look back and, like you say, I saw someone build the perfect Premier League. Stoke City are in there.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
But what if Bournemouth go and win the Europa League? What if Brighton go and win Conference League?
Brighton should.
What if we all go and take over? Yeah, I know. Let's not talk about that. What if though, Palace go and win FA Cup? What if Bournemouth go and win the Prem? What if these teams dominated for the next 5 years? Are we going to just turn a blind eye like we've done to City?
I think so.
Because with City, they've built it on money. It's a very different ball game to how these other clubs have done it. But they're still one of the best clubs of the last 15 years. They are the best club of the last 15 years. They've dominated English football. They've won so many trophies. They've won the treble.
the only team that City side can be compared to is United under Fergie. In terms of pure dominance, come on, man.
Yeah.
No one else has come close.
But yet we look at City in a completely different way to how we look at Manchester United. Maybe it's one of those where football time will be kind. We'll look back one day and we'll think, God, do you remember how good Kevin De Bruyne was in the Prem? You know what I mean? How good City were.
But it's people look back at that United team as if they weren't buying every good player.
Yeah.
Fergie's transfer strategy for large parts was, at the end of each season, he'd look around the Premier League and take every player that didn't play for him that was good.
Yeah. And even went into other big 6 clubs and just Van Persie from Arsenal just went and snatched him.
So it was still money. It's the same principles, but people, it's like look, what's the word? My brain's not working. When you look back,
revisionism.
Yeah, but it's the other one where it's it feels good to look back, and it's
nostalgia.
Yeah, it's just nostalgia. And like you say, in 15 years, people will look back and think, oh my God, how good was it watching Bernardo Silva and Fernandinho and De Bruyne at City? That team was incredible. And Rodri and that dynasty that they built, it was amazing. We're never going to see anything like it. And then the next dynasty, it could be Coventry City having a dynasty.
I want to just say as well,
people will look back and think, it's not City.
And Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola will go down as one of the best managers of all time, right? Is comfortably one of the
great
best.
Documentary, by the way.
One of the best Premier League managers of all time. And I'll definitely need to give that a watch. Because when he was in the Premier League for the last 5 years, we've kind of had this weird thing of Pep killed football, killed young players, made football boring. No. He was just by far the best.
He didn't make football boring, did he? If you're a City fan, you're not bored of what you're watching.
No.
Maybe bored of having to pay for train tickets to Wembley 4 times a year. No, massively. I mean, to be honest, that's obviously we got one more game later tonight as we record. Newcastle Liverpool was I thought that was quite an entertaining game.
Why did Isaac not take the pen though?
Because Szoboszlai's their penalty taker.
Boring.
It was boring, but he would have missed.
What a pen though.
He would have missed. Great
What a
pen. Isaac would have missed. Isaac looks physically shot. There's rumours that he's got a bit of a groin struggle that he's carrying.
Yeah, he looks half the player he
just
was, to be honest.
Really shit.
And
oh my god, like the Newcastle fans were on his back. They were celebrating every poor touch.
But it's all right when
misplaced
Newcastle
pass.
do it. When Brighton boo Chelsea players, we're pathetic. But when Newcastle do it, it's great.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. But yeah, I thought.
But I do agree with them.
Liverpool were probably good value. I thought Victor Munoz came on and caused some problems. Obviously, won the penalty. I've not really got many other thoughts on that game.
It was a game of all time. No, it wasn't too bad. I thought Liverpool were a bit rattled in the first half.
It was
Second half, they
entertaining.
come back. Maybe with how it started, you would have wanted a little bit more. I thought Newcastle countered them pretty well. They scored goals sort of against the run of play, which helped them. The second goal was a bit against the run of play. It broke up that momentum that Liverpool got themselves onto. But it always felt like Liverpool were ready to come back for something else. And it was just such a stupid challenge in that sort of time. I think it was 30 seconds left on the clock.
Lewis Hall, he had a really good game as well.
Yeah, he did have a good game.
But like I said,
silly
Victor Munoz came on, caused issues. He's going to be a bit of a pain. Tonight, as we record, Fulham versus Chelsea, it should be a decent little game.
Yeah, this prediction won't mean much because I doubt this goes out before that game kicks off.
I don't even think it's worth doing predictions.
It's the poshest derby in the world, isn't it? Chelsea and Fulham.
Yes.
They hit each other with cheese boards and grapes.
Yeah, flick grapes at each other from across
hit
the stadium.
this wine bottle.
The last thing we wanted to talk about is player power in transfers.
Yeah, I like this one.
Ollie Watkins this week has refused to train and made himself absent or unavailable for Aston Villa's opening game, of course, which they lost 4-0 to Brighton. Unai Emery after the game was speaking about it, saying you will have to ask Ollie. It is not silence from me.
Yeah, lost his head, didn't he?
Yeah, quite rightfully.
I agree.
And it brings the question of what on earth is going on in modern football. This isn't like numerous things like this happening right now.
Yeah.
For those that aren't aware, Jean-Philippe Mateta has taken Palace to court.
I didn't know it's court.
So he took Palace to a tribunal under the Premier League's kind of rulings because when we signed him permanently after his loan spell, he signed a 4.5-year deal. And a part of that deal was that the club had an option for a further year.
Okay.
He signed the contract. He's now trying to claim that extra year is null and void and he should be a free agent. The Premier League were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, don't be silly. He went to FIFA and FIFA ruled that it's just not in their jurisdiction to make these kind of decisions. But it does raise a question as to what on earth is going on in modern football. Bear in mind, this is the same Mateta who is clearly awfully managed. He tried to push a move for a move to AC Milan when he was injured. And I remember saying at the time, like, you must have known you were going to fail your medical. It's your knee. Like, you are the one with the bad knee. Like, come on, man. He put his celebration on strike because he wanted more money. And then when he was offered more money, he turned more money down. And I think these players are just either A, stupid, B, really poorly managed and advised, or C, a combination of both. He's now trying to push for a move. Ismaila Sarr is apparently trying to push for a move. He allegedly has a groin injury, but...
So you guys are in trouble is what I'm hearing, but more to the point...
But with Ollie Watkins as well, like, what has Villa not given Ollie Watkins?
Yeah.
And I think we kind of... Do you forget sometimes this is his job? Not to go all Roy Keane on you, but this is his job.
Yeah.
He's a professional footballer who is paid more in a week than most of us earn in 2 or 3 years. He is paid a contract to train and play football games. But he thinks it's acceptable to take a week off because he's trying to force a move to Saudi Arabia. Especially for a club where, I'd never excuse it, but if there's maybe things going on off the pitch or maybe there's a fallout, I'd understand it more. Where's the fallout here? What has Villa not provided Ollie Watkins and his family? What have they not given him? Has the fan base welcomed him with open arms, have loved him from day one, have supported him, they've shared incredible moments together. And it just really leaves a sour taste in the mouth, not just of Villa fans, but of all football fans, because it is a real eye-opener that footballers will never, ever care as much as fans do. And that it feels obvious, but it still is a bit of a sucker punch to feel every single time it happens, because it's just disgraceful. Who does he think he is?
Yeah, I'm going to sort of say about that, because Watkins is really poor for this. As someone that was at that Villa game, watching that game, They needed him.
And he's a leader.
They really needed him.
Supposedly, he's the leader,
and they
right?
were diabolical, right? Watkins you associate to being... You just think... If you think of Villa, you think of Watkins probably as the next best thing you think of, right? So poor. So poor. I didn't realise quite the extent of it when he was out. I assumed it was just like, he's probably just going and it's a contract thing. When the game kicked off... Well, on the way into the ground, you kind of hear people talking about it, thinking, and I was like, oh, is the Watkins thing like worse than I thought, sort of thing? Then you see Emery's comments, and I'm thinking, right, okay, something's seriously happened there. I just assumed it was the move was advanced and he was on his way. And all of a sudden, then you're realising he's refused to train, he's refused to play. I don't understand why players do this, because he's effectively just ruled out anything he's ever done for them fans. Fans are now going to hate him, right? And the chance I don't know how you guys are going to feel about Mateta.
Oh, mate, we gave him a second chance. He tried to force a move to Forest, of all teams. He then agreed terms with Milan and tried to force a move. Obviously, failed the medical, like I said. Came back and, let's not get it twisted. Mateta was very bad for large... He's been with us for about 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah,
he was utter shite for a large part of that. He's been a purple patch player. He scored a header. I can't remember who we were playing, but there was a sub ready to come on to replace him. And Michael Elisa, I think, put a ball into the box and he headed home. It didn't really head it home. It hit his head and went in. And, that, basically saved his Palace career. And... we stuck by him when he was awful for the first 2 years, genuinely couldn't hit a barn door. We've stuck by him through periods where, he missed the most big chances out of any Palace player last year, genuinely cost us multiple points and places in the table. So financial implications of that for the club and, of course, for fans as well that are spending money and going away. Even at Everton, missed 2 big chances, hit the post from 6 yards out. Any striker would score what he missed. And he has scored big goals, of course, scored in the Conference League final. And it felt like, he did come back from almost tarnishing his legacy and somewhat saved it with his performances in the Conference League and the Premier League towards the end of last season. How stupid you have to be to now do this.
Yeah.
And it will tarnish his legacy because... who do you think you are, taking the club that employ you to court because you want to earn a few tens of thousands of pounds more a week?
This is the thing. I think
it's just
fans
greed,
don't. I sound really stating the obvious, but I don't think you'll ever convince fans that players don't care that much. I know it sounds so...
I think fans want to believe that, right?
It's so harsh, but it also sounds like, I think if you told certain groups of fans, look, this player does not care about you like you care about them, they will just kind of be like, oh, shut up, mate.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear it. I think there's exceptions, though, right? Like John McGinn, like Lewis Dunk for you guys, like Will Zaha for us.
I agree.
I look at a player like Jack Hinchelwood, for example, just because we're on my mind, we're talking about him earlier.
Okay.
Can't see him behaving like that.
I would be mortified if he did.
I just can't see it happening.
But if he did, I don't think Welbeck's was his choice. Okay, I'm going to say that here. I think he was forced out of the club. But the fact he went to Chelsea was it felt like the ultimate kick in the teeth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if all clubs to go to, if he went to Palace or Chelsea, he's going to basically get booed.
I guess the only caveat with, for example, a move like that, and I'm not just saying just Welbeck,
it's a bigger club.
A move like that, and if you're being forced out, it makes sense. Maybe he didn't even consider the fact it was Chelsea, and Brighton fans don't like Chelsea, but it was more like, okay, I am 37 or whatever, last chance at a nice big contract. But I do think that, Watkins, for example, to go to fucking Al Hilal? What do you really want to play in Saudi Arabia that much?
It's money, innit?
He just wants the money. But I just don't get it, man. I'll never understand it.
Yeah.
And that's why players like your Lewis Dunks and your Zahas and your John McGinns are so special and should be really treasured.
Unfortunately, though, we're talking about all of those players as players that are at the latter stages of their career now. I mean, you're probably not going to see Zaha at the top level again.
Well, haven't for a while, to be fair.
Dunk is probably coming to his later years. I don't think he's done yet, but still.
John McGinn
again, later years. I mean, all these sort of players are a dying breed. And I think that the newer sort of, resurgence of these younger players that have now become older players like Ollie Watkins, I just think they're part of that group of players that will want to go. And I think Kevin De Bruyne touched on it when he got linked with Saudi Arabia ages ago. I think he was at City and he said, look, I'm not going to lie, I don't think I could turn down an offer from Saudi at this stage of my career because the money is generational wealth for the rest of my generations of family.
For hundreds of years.
And he can put it down millions, literally. And from that perspective, I kind of get it. But it's the sad reality of anything can be bought. I think it's just a sad truth about anything. Like if someone just came and bought like this whole show and replaced us with someone, like there's a price in there, you would stop doing stuff and you'd stop doing your Palace stuff, because if someone paid you enough to never have to work on Palace again and said, look, I don't want you to ever do it again, you'd probably say, do you know what, fine, if you're going to pay me enough. It's just the sad reality of life, isn't it?
It's a bit depressing.
There we are.
But like I think it's important to talk about, because I completely like understand the Villa fans' frustration and upset. And I think it's worth mentioning. Obviously, there's still a week of the transfer window, and I think both Palace and Villa in these examples are well within their rights to deny these players of moves and say, well, suck it up, buddy. You're contracted to us. You can play for us.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, isn't it?
That's everything.
In a nutshell. First
week of the Premier League done.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's kind of mad how it's gone so quick, actually. Conference League action for us this week.
Hopefully,
what do you think we do against Tromsø?
Well, I before Villa, I would have said I've had a feeling you might have lost on pens. I feel I could just see it go the distance.
I can see like a sucker punch.
I think it's going to be a much harder game than Villa gave you, but I just think you'll have enough quality. I think you'll be fine. And then we get the draw later this week. I think on Friday. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, we'll see. Henry, absolute pleasure, mate, as always.
You too, man.
Make sure you come to Etchenhove and talk about the Premier League all season. It's going to be great fun, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you follow TSR, make sure you follow Henry, and we'll see you very soon. And thank you to Mia in the background as well.
Shout out for the as always.
See you later. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.